Welcome to the Susan Brender Show. Our guest today is Amos Knoll of Knoll Publishing. Now, here's Susan Brender.
This is the Susan Brender Show. And of course, today I'm having another friend on my show. I have so many friends that I love to have on the show because you know what? They have a lot to say and they have a lot to offer people with regard to information and education. And the person I have today is Amos Knoll, who's the CEO and founder of Knoll Publishing. And he's done about, Amos, tell me, how many books have you done?
About 50. Some of the books are still, I'm waiting for the artwork, I'm waiting for some of the editing. When I write the short stories, I add a lot of pictures to it because I like, call them sculpture the words and the pictures as one. On a regular book, I don't need the artist, so I'm waiting for a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, I think it's very important that people know who you are exactly and what you do. We talked about you being the publisher, needless to say, of this wonderful, wonderful company, but yet I think there's more that you need to tell the audience because you're doing so much.
About my own life?
Yeah, I'd like to know, and I think that the audience would like to know because you have a very rich life, and you're raising a grandson, and there's so many things that are going on in your life. So tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
My history: I was born in 1943 in Israel, and that's my accent, Hebrew accent. Then I moved to Austria. That's my German accent when I was 5. And when I was 10 years old, I moved to the US. And I used to work as a lifeguard in Coney Island. I went to Queens College. I worked on Wall Street. And in 1970, I moved to Michigan. And I was there for about 30 plus years. I was a builder developer for all the time, but almost 40 years. And one day my wife says, Amos, it's too cold. Let's move to Florida. And so I've been here since 1970. And I was there. Then I got into actually writing books because my grandson, Edison, one day said to me, and he used to read the books every night, actually telling the stories, and I read so much to him. So one day he said to me, Papa, why don't you write the books down? I told him the story. It's called The Flower That Couldn't Talk. As a matter of fact, here's the way it looks.
Beautiful book. Amos, before you continue telling us about yourself, I know that you were inspired, and basically your wife was also on your side telling you that you need to do different things. Now, why is it that you chose to do children's books? And we're living in a chaotic time right now. And unfortunately, children have to be on the computer doing reading. And there's a lot of, and I want to say a lot of problems because reading over the line on Zoom is not the way to do things. Kids need to be together. They need to face one another. Now, tell us about your books and what inspired you. But also, I want to know, are you dealing with that situation with your grandson?
Yeah, I don't think it's a problem. Actually, Max is my great-grandson. And, you know, as long as you explain things to your kids, we should never underestimate them. But most of my books, I shouldn't say most of them, all of them, have a story behind it. Like my newest book, Mama, Why Am I Black? It's basically as a simple, it's a story about a white Jewish girl from Europe who marries a black guy from Ethiopia, and they have a child. The child has red hair, like the mother, blue eyes, and brown skin. And he asked his mother a very logical question, Mama, why am I black? And she explains to him that he was created from the best of his mother and father. That's why he had such beautiful eyes and hair and beautiful black skin. And that's why he is so smart and intelligent. So the boy understands it. And the message in this book is, be proud of what you are and who you are. All my books, like Max and the Red-Headed Dragon, has a message too. And the message is, don't judge people by the color, gender, lifestyle, creed. Judge people only what's in your heart and in your mind. The flower that couldn't talk, it's about a handicapped boy. And the handicapped boy learns to communicate with nature. Books like, let me use an example here. Books like, where are you? Oh, The Chubby Conqueror. This book has like 200 pages.
Yeah.
So it's not, it doesn't have any pictures, but this has to do with the obesity epidemic. In America, we have over 245 million people that are overweight and obese. And this is not a diet book. It's a book of motivation, inspiration. How the 12-year-old, looking through the eyes of a 12-year-old boy. And I've been working for a while to get all the money together for the movie, but it looks like I'm getting it now. And that book and the movie, I think, will be a tremendous hit because people can relate to it.
Yeah.
And all my books are based on everyday things in life.
Amos, you had some trouble with a company that was going to publish your book. This is a really special book, and I have no idea what happened. And I think our audience ought to know it because it is a wonderful thing that you're doing, writing children's books and giving them inspiration and giving them hope and the feeling that they're all wonderful. Without, like you said, Black Lives Matter, everybody matters. But tell me what happened with the situation with the company that was supposed to publish your book.
I have an associate working with me. She does a lot of my editing for my books. And she also runs my back operation. Her name is Dawn. And we were very busy. So I told her, let's use an outside company. Let them edit the books. Let them work on the artwork. Now, a lot of that stuff I have been doing. I've been doing work on the artwork, the writing, the layouts of the books. I was handling most of it. And Dawn has been very good, especially I'm not a good speller. She takes care of it for me. But anyway, so I hired a company, and the company's name is called the Bookmasters. They're in California. They're a bunch of cooks. So I paid them the money, and they were supposed to produce. They didn't produce. Pictures they couldn't put together. I mean, I am particular because when I sell a book, I want the people to see, to get what they're paying for, and not some scrap written up. Spelling, full of spelling mistakes. For that, I didn't need them. I can do that myself. So I was complaining to them, hey guys, here's what we need. Now I have to admit, they gave me a beautiful speech, a pitch, I should say. And when you look at the website, the Bookmaster, beautiful sales pitch. Then at the end, I said, listen, we had an agreement. If I'm not satisfied, I get all my money back, plus 50%. So I want to get my money back because there is nothing that you have done that I could use. What bothers me the most, the money, okay, we can fight over that. I wasted all the time, and the main reason I hired them was because of time. And what happened was, we went into a little contest going back and forth. Finally, I threatened them, I'm going to file of complaints. Then they sent me a letter with sending you back the money. And I said, okay, I wasn't going to follow it up afterwards. And what happened was, that goes back 6 months ago, 7 months ago, one lie after another. Then, I don't know if you know what the word chutzpah means, they called me back. When I spoke to them, they said, well, okay, you're canceling, so what we're going to do is we're going to charge you $950 cancellation charge. I just started to laugh. I thought it was funny. And then $500 for that and that. So I said, listen, you bunch of crooks. I wasn't that nice on the phone. As a matter of fact, it was nasty. And they said, you can't talk to us like that. So I said what I wanted to say. I wasn't going to hold back. I wasn't trying to be politically polite. You know, we all make mistakes. When I make a mistake, and I make mistakes, it's not below my dignity to say I was wrong and I apologize.
So you own up to your situation.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
And the other thing that's very important is that you're giving advice to our audience, because there's a lot of writers in our audience who really need to know how to deal with the publishing company. Now, this is self-publishing, isn't it?
Self-publishing. So one of the mistakes I made, there is a company called Bookmasters. They're in Ashland, Ohio. They did the first book for me, The Chubby Conqueror. Never had any problems. They happened to call me a few days earlier. So in my mind, maybe I'm getting older, I have to get used to it, I screwed it up. I did. So I thought, and they happened to call me too. So I first assumed, but I knew there were new people because that was 10 years ago, The Chubby Conqueror. So one lie after another. So then I had a person call me up in England, no, I'm sorry, Scotland, because he saw one of my website and we started to talk. They screwed him out of $800–900. So I was going to go, now I was going to fight him. The truth of the matter is, it would cost me more in legal fees. I would get annoyed. It would take my time away where I could be productive. And especially if you listen to all that crap in the news today, it's confusing for people, adults. So what kind of a messages do our kids get? So I try to always explain to kids, like my guinea pig in a very nice way is Max. He's now 10 years old, 10 and a half actually. And I ask him, Max, what do you think about politics? He says, I don't know. Like you said, Papa, I don't know who to believe.
He says that as a 10-year-old, he actually questions things. He actually questions things as a 10-year-old.
Yeah, he does. And I told him, Max, I said, look, it's very hard sometimes, even for adults, to know who's telling the truth and who's lying. And when you sign contracts, there are little lines. And if you don't see them, it can be very costly. It happened to me too. I'm used to reading contracts. When I was a builder developer for almost 40 years, I read a lot of contracts and I still make mistakes. So even when we talk about politics to him, I try not to, but when we do, I tell him, Max, always vote for the best person who you think can do the best for you and America, period. It's as simple as that. So it doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican or independent, vote for the best person. And he understands that. And I taught all my kids the same attitude.
So let me ask you something, Amos. You're saying that you spend time with your great-grandson talking about politics. Now, is a 10-year-old or a 10-and-a-half-year-old unable to understand what is going on, especially during these chaotic times? Do you talk about what he should do, how he should do it?
What I try to do is I try to be neutral. I'm trying to tell him or educate him, whichever way you want to, whatever you want to call it. Just because some politician says something doesn't mean it's true. Look it up yourself. Ask me, ask your teacher, ask people. And then make up your own mind. And if you're not sure, and I tell you, Papa doesn't lie to you. And if I don't know, I tell him, Max, I don't know. Let me find out. So you don't want to start, if you're a Democrat, just saying everything bad about Trump, and if you are Republican, everything about the Democrats. We know as adults who's good and who's bad. And if you're a Democrat, you're going to say everything you have to. If you're a Republican, you're going to say whatever you have to. So we have to teach the kids to learn, to think. But I think we way underestimate the kids. And he asked me very logical questions many times. Why did Trump say that? Or why did Biden say that? Biden is very simply, I tell him, by the way, we're the same age, Biden and I think few weeks difference in age. I said, look, some people deteriorate mentally faster than others. I said, that he can't help. Same thing can happen to me. One day I'm going to say, Max who? And he starts to laugh, you know. So, but basically I teach him to be able to go and understand and ask and then make up his mind. Not because somebody tells him on television, hey, that's no good or he's no good.
Right. You know, I'll tell you something. I'm going to stop you here because I'm going to ask you this other thing. You're talking to your great-grandson and you're giving him the ideas of what is going on in politics. Now, if your son, great-grandson, goes to a charter school, do you see the difference? I mean, was he ever in a regular public school? And do you see the difference between the two?
No. Oh, yes, we did in the beginning. You can see a big difference. They concentrate on math and English. And don't forget, for the last year, they were on television. I mean, on television, on the computer. And I would listen in many times. And I think the teachers are there. The politics is never brought up. It isn't, you know, as per se. And he himself doesn't ask so many questions, but it's important not to push any one side to them. It's a matter of teaching them, because as they become older, they can understand exactly what's going on. Now I have my other grandson, Edison. He's going to FAU. He's going to graduate next year. Tomorrow is going to be, or next week, 21 years old. He knows politics, and he doesn't back off. He's out there. If you want to knock somebody, he will give you an argument and convince you to go on his side. So
impressed by that, Amos, I have to tell you, because a lot of students are just not interested. We find that children in our society, they're so busy doing different things. I mean, going on Zoom, going on phones, you know, messaging people, and you don't think that they're really interested in politics, but it's so necessary. And I'm really happy to hear that your son or grandson Edison is interested.
Well, look, the kids emulate the parents and grandparents or the family, all the kids. So it's very important, extremely important, to teach them how to think for themselves. That's really the key to it, I feel. Some of the kids, all they do is the whole day on the computer, on the iPad or iPhone or whatever they have. And it's up to the parents to say, hey, put it away. You want to play, you can play later. Do your homework first. Doesn't mean it works every time. I have to admit it too. But it's a matter of enforcing it.
Well, let's move on for a little bit. And I heard that you're writing a song, another side of Amos, which is interesting. You know, you write books, you work with your grandchildren. I mean, you run a publishing company, and now you're writing a song. Tell our audience a little bit about what inspired you to do that and what it's about.
Let me give you first a little history about myself, one of my books, so you understand why I'm doing all the different things I'm doing. People tell me sometimes, Amos, you're the most unluckiest person alive. All the things that happened to me. I just wrote some things down before. The book that I'm writing, I started to write it. It's called A True Novel. I know it sounds contradictory. Because as I started to write the book, and I'm not in a hurry, I just here and there write a little on that. As I was reading it, I even said to myself, Amos, it sounds like BS. I don't even believe it. But here's just some of the ideas, and all of us, you included, and you're a product of your life, what happens to you in life. And I travel all around the world. When you talk about prejudice, it's nothing compared. You go to Africa, when I was in Nigeria and the Congo, different places, you have so much hate between one black group and another black group. I mean, and if the people think over here, oh my God, how prejudiced we are. But just to give you an idea, I'm just gonna go through some highlights, okay? I have been shot, kidnapped, raped, knife in my back, I was stuck in the middle of a minefield, lost a kidney, brain operation, broken legs. I used to work on Wall Street as a lifeguard in Coney Island. I was kidnapped, stuck in burning house. I worked in Brownsville's Boys Club. I owned a bar, recycling yard. I married when I was 18 years old. Oh my gosh, February is going to be 60 years.
Wow.
And I still feel like I'm on a honeymoon. And that's because I have the last word in my house. Yes, dear. Yeah. I fell out a third story window in New York, and don't ask me how come I didn't have any broken bones. It's like a miracle. I had literally cargo over me. I walked out with a scraped knee. I was once stuck in a village in Nigeria. When you see a kid's hands being chopped off and a head being chopped off, it's not like you see in the movie. Those terrorists, one of them left his right, was a Russian made, I forgot what kind. I used to go target shooting. I used to enjoy, I'm not a hunter. One day there was in Pennsylvania, and there was a 22. And the guy says, can you shoot the bird? I said, why do you want to shoot the bird for? So I aimed it, but I aimed at the branch underneath the bird, where the bird was. And the branch fell down, and the bird like goes down and flies away. The guy says, you're a bad shot. First I was going to explain it to him, then I says, for what? You know, let him think I'm a bad shot. But in there, what happened was, I shouldn't have been there. I mean, I was in business in Africa, and I'm adventurous, so I was driving in places I should definitely not have been. And the guy left the rifle outside, and I forgot the name of what you call that. And I picked it up. The safety wasn't even on. And he saw me, they came after me. I took the gun, I shot a few of them. And I didn't, somebody asked me, did you shoot them because they were black? I said, no, because they were animals. A human being doesn't do it to another human being. So after I get done, first of all, yes, I saved my own life too. There's no question about it. I had no regret. I would do it again today without any hesitation. And what happened was when, after the people ran away, there were about 4 of them, 5 of them, I'm sorry. A little woman, I'm 6'4", the woman is must have been about 5 feet. Little woman, black, dark skin, and completely white hair. And she walks over to me and she says, why you do that? I says, what do you mean? He says, why you do it? She was like amazed because I was white and I would risk my life. I says, look, what's the difference? We have the same blood. If I would kick it, it's going to hurt you as much as you would kick me.
Stop you for a second, Amos.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at the situation and the data that's being given out about Black Lives Matter, interestingly enough, the data suggests that most of the people who are doing the damage and doing really horrible things are to each other. Okay, so
Absolutely.
It's black against black. Remember Rwanda, it was the Hutus against the Tutsis. Not the people who are shooting and killing each other are different. They're the same. And that is a really, really big shame. And I think you need to get that out in a book that is even for children, because needless to say, you're teaching our next generation what is right and what is wrong.
Look, I give an example in the book, Mama, Why Am I Black, okay? In the back of the book. Oh, I was getting ready criticism. And you know something? I couldn't care less. That's their problem, not mine. In the front of the book, that's a hardcover book, by the way. It's glossy over here. You can see the way it's made. It's really quality.
Yeah.
And inside, you have the American flag. I read the words. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm sure when I look at it, I'm very proud of you because that you really support women, and I think that's great.
Well, I raised 2 girls and my wife's a woman too, so and that's the back of the book.
Look at that.
Okay, but here's the words. Then in the back of the book, that book, by the way, I created like a keepsake book. The soft cover doesn't compare to that at all. But in the back, you can see 2 pictures. The little boy and on the other side, Barack Obama, and then of course the picture, I'm sorry, whoops, backwards, the picture, which is a combination of different colors. So somebody asked me, why'd you put Barack Obama in? I said, because he's half black and half white, like the boy, nothing to do with him. I wanted to use somebody that everybody knows, but here are the words it says in the bottom. What makes America great is that we are all alike. Even a black and white man, or white a black man, can become the leader of the greatest nation in the world. This is, I got bad glasses. This is also true for all women. This is proof that America is not a nation of systemic racism, except for the ignorant few. If it were, you would not have had a white president like Barack Obama. So the first argument I got was, he's not white, he's black. I said, wait a minute, he's half and half. You want to call yourself black? He's entitled to it. That's what freedom is. If I want to call him white, I call him white, right? He's whatever he wants to be. So
You're talking about choice, Amos.
exactly.
Everybody has to make a choice. And if they make that choice for themselves, which you've done, and a lot of other people are starting to do, that is really wonderful. Now, I want to, because we're coming right to the end of the show, I really would like to know what's next on your agenda. What are you doing next? Because you have how many books now? 30?
Right now, I'm writing a song. Now, when I say I'm writing a song, like in the other book, the Chubby Conqueror, I have a song on that. You can find it on my website. And what I do is I take different songs, I use the words, and then I put bits and bytes and I give it to somebody to create it for me. Now that particular song is a tribute to President Trump. Now I know I lost half the nation right now, but so be it. But I couldn't care less. But the point is over here, it uses two songs. One of them is God Bless America, World War II, very popular, and he gave the people the spirit that what they needed. The other one is by George Cohn, which is over there, the Yanks are coming. That was inspirational. So I'm taking both those songs together, changed some of the words in it, where I say the Yanks are coming. No, Trump is coming. And this has nothing to do, by the way, just for the record, I happen to be a registered Democrat, because when you live in New York, in 1962 and you become 18, you automatically become, I never changed it, but I always voted for the person that I thought was best for America, right? And I happen to like Trump because he's a developer, I'm a developer, so I understand where he's coming from, but not because of politics. I just find whoever I find better. That's a choice we have here. Just like the choice, I know people are going to criticize because I put down that we are not a nation of systemic racism, because we're not. Because if we were, you would not have President Trump. And you wouldn't have today, if you're black, you can be doctor, a lawyer, an astronaut, anything anybody wants. You have to work for it. Nobody's giving it to you for nothing. But you have the opportunity here. You go to different parts of the world, and I've been there. They give you crap. And if they don't like you, they don't curse you, you just disappear. Go to Iran. You want your free zone, like they create over here? Go to Iran. Go into your free zone and say, I want to overcome or get rid of the Khomeini. Yep, you're going to be killed on your free zone.
That's right. Now, the last question that I really have, but we have no much time, is I want you to think about the issue of immigration. And I'm interested in knowing whether you're going to buy it or rather write a book about it, because this is really one of the most, I mean, I don't even know what to call it. It's a horrible situation that's going on in our country, but you have hope and you give children an idea of how to lead their lives, and you give them the choice to read every one of your books, which is a lot of books.
They all have messages, by the way.
And all have messages. Let's leave it at the last message that you want to give our audience.
To do with the immigration or just in general?
Whatever you want to say. What is the point that you want to talk to our audience and leave them with?
Good question. There's so many things in my mind you can't imagine. don't underestimate your book. Our future, the book. I guess I'm still pitching my books,
Well,
obviously. By the way,
no problem. I would do the same thing.
I ordered the books. They're coming in. It's going to take about 2.5 months. You can find it on Amazon in the meantime. But if you take the book, anybody who buys the book until August of this year, they will get a 20% discount and free shipping and handling. But it's going to take about 2.5 months or 2 months to get here. So go to my site, www.knoll, Knoll, publishing.com. And I guarantee you will enjoy the book because everything is brought down into simple language, the way we actually talk, the way we act. And I try to call things the way they really are.
My guest today has been Amos Knoll from the Knoll Publishing Company, who also runs something called the Obesity Foundation.
Yes.
And I think he's a very wise man, and I think people need to listen to you more because they're going to really understand what somebody is able to do with just a little bit. So thank you, Amos, for being on the Susan Brender Show. It's been a pleasure.
Susan, it's been my pleasure listening to you and you listening to me. Thank you very much. Looking forward to seeing you again.
Same here.